So at the time I'm recording this is January 14th, okay? But what that means is that it is Martin Luther King Jr. weekend. It is on the Monday of the coming Monday. And Representative John Lewis, who is of the 5th Congressional District of Georgia, has criticized Donald Trump, saying that he is not a legitimate president, I believe for the reasoning of the Russian hacking. So Donald Trump decided to go on the attack like he always does, because he's a big old pussy that can't go without responding to anything or anything at all. So he went after him, and we're going to break this down. So before I get into this, check out the article because I wrote it. So go check it out. It's going to be in the description. I haven't done like this before, but hey, this is going to be interesting. So what I wanted to break down to you guys here, here it says, according to SmithsonianMag.com, to date he has racked up at least 45 arrests, most recently while protesting on behalf of comprehensive immigration reform in 2013. So what I wanted to break down to you guys is how much work John Lewis actually put in for the civil rights movement to improve and empower African Americans, give them more rights, make it more equal, bring up the equality. And the way that he did it is very remarkable, because somehow you get a skull fracture by the cops, but you don't react with violence. That is truly superb and amazing, and I simply cannot ever have enough admiration for that, because such provocative behavior should provoke most people, which then turns people's minds against it and say, oh, I don't really support your cause. But really, what that does, when you are able to respond to provocative behavior without getting provoked, you are able to influence people's minds in a good way towards what your idea is. And there were many people who were not as patient, were not as principled, and were not as smart and intelligent as people like John Lewis and Martin Luther King by following the idea of nonviolence, and who did do violence, and unfortunately tainted the civil rights movement in certain ways. So here's what Donald Trump tweeted in response. But he said, Congressman John Lewis should spend more time on fixing and helping his district, which is in horrible shape and falling apart, not to mention crime infested, rather than falsely complaining about the election results. All talk, no action or results. Sad. Okay, let's get into breaking this down as soon as we can. So his first point, he should spend more time on fixing and helping his district, which is in horrible shape and falling apart. Okay, I don't know where the hell he got this. So from census.gov's statistics, which they have a little drop down bar, you can click all of the congressional districts and you can look at the statistics. It's perfect. It's got jobs, it's got demographics, it's got education, it's got all this type of good stuff. So they say 87.6% of the population over 25 have a high school diploma, and 40.6% have a bachelor's degree from a college. That's outstanding. Over 80%, actually 87%, that's more than 85%, have a high school degree. That is impressive, because a lot of congressional districts, which have cities in them obviously, aren't able to do that. So what that means is, forget about it being exceptional or whatever. He's saying that it's in horrible shape. Is it in horrible shape? Hell the fuck no. Again, he says crime infested. Atlanta's violent crime rate, 1 crime per 1120 residents, landed Atlanta at number 14 nationally among cities with populations of more than 200,000. So here's the key to that. So you're saying it's crime infested, but it doesn't even make the top 10 list for crime? What kind of an analysis is that? I bet an analyst is looking at you like, bro, you're an idiot. This guy's a dumbass. He's a reckless buffoon. They're not even in the top 10. We're going to go into even more nuance here. So they say, for instance, Charlotte, North Carolina, often cited as one of Atlanta's closest rivals, was not included, nor were New York City or Cleveland, Ohio. Some of the main cities aren't even in there. So is it crime infested? It's not. It doesn't make the top 10, and multiple big cities aren't even in that damn list. So obviously it's not crime infested. There's no way to argue against that. Now, what is his other point? He says all talk, 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 no action or results. Is that really what this orange fucking buffoon spoon-fed by his fucking father said? Seriously. And here's the point that I want to get off to you guys. It is not that you can't criticize John Lewis at all because he's a civil rights icon and he's sacrilegious, and even if he were to kill people, you say, oh no, he's a civil rights icon. No, you can criticize him on legit merits, but you cannot attack him on certain grounds that are simply untrue. So you can't falsely attack him, and also you can't attack him if he's saying you're an illegitimate candidate because of the shitty reports. Obviously, we know it's not true, but he has certain agendas, and Donald Trump is not one to talk about this, and we're going to break down why. So, in 1965, what were these two guys doing? Donald Trump received 5 deferments from the Vietnam War, 4 of them being for education for a school, 1 of them being for a bone spurs diagnosis. So, that seems interesting. 5 deferments. I wonder if there were 2 categories. Yep, turns out there are. Medical and school. I wonder why 1 of them is medical and 4 of them are for school. Maybe the 4 of them that were for school were not powerful enough, so they had to get one that was medical, which they made up. And from the evidence, you can look at it. I think it was a New York Times piece that perfectly analyzed everything. You can read this piece. It has that summary in there. And a lot of the physicians never noted that. And they never put it in his list of diseases for bone spurs. And he couldn't, when asked which foot he had bone spurs in, he couldn't answer because he didn't have them. It was bullshit. So, he's a coward Jofting, what the fuck? Sorry, it's late, guys. Dodging the Vietnam War. Okay, on top of that, he lied about what he did too. He said that he was at Wharton Finance School. I think that's what it's called. Wharton? What a weird name. But anyways, he said that he was watching the results and his number was so high, unfortunately he didn't get in. But guess what? The draft happened 18 months after he graduated. Why you gotta keep lying, bro? It's just, okay, that's embarrassing. What was John Lewis doing? He was marching from I think Montgomery to Selma, or maybe the other way around. He had a historic march that they called the Bloody Sunday. You know why? 600 African Americans who were non-violently protesting by making a march. The police came and beat multiple people. Not even multiple. Dozens of people. 58 people had to be treated at the local hospital. John Lewis had a skull fracture. The amount of risk that this man took to do a non-violent protest is unattainable. It's legitimately unattainable. Because let's be honest, he faced near-death experiences. A skull fracture? That seems pretty dangerous to me, and not to mention it's much more dangerous than fucking fake-ass bone spurs. And it's just amazing, okay? Because how can Trump criticize this man when he's one of the biggest pussies on the planet, one of the biggest liars, frauds, fake patriot bullshit, when there's someone actually who is a patriot? Because let's be real, John Lewis, he's a patriot. Is Donald Trump a patriot? Fuck no. Think about all the fraud he's committed. You've heard of the Trump University settlement for $25 million? That's a lot of money. Gee, I wonder how much he scammed people out of. He literally made a fake university where they gave him a fake certificate, and they gave the people, it was like seminars. You know those like bullshit seminars that people go to for whatever, real estate and investing, and they don't give you shit other than pep talk? It was like that. And they just kept telling you, oh yeah, give us more money, we'll give you better ratings, And you can only pass if you give us good ratings. So this guy's the biggest fucker to ever try to criticize him on the wrong merits. And here, let me again be clear. There are places where you can criticize John Lewis, because just because he's a civil rights icon does not make him untouchable. For example, him endorsing Hillary Clinton instead of Bernie Sanders because he would get, the whole thing of he would get a position in her administration, and him, I think he said that he never saw Bernie Sanders, even though there are clear pictures of Bernie Sanders with ML, I don't know about with MLK. He was at MLK's march that he had, and his I Have a Dream speech, and his famous I Have a Dream speech. There are pictures of him there. He went to jail multiple times for peacefully protesting, and the facts are there, right? And also him picking Hillary over Sanders because Hillary was a Goldwater girl. And what the key is not necessarily what it is now. It's who had the right position in the hardest position. And who did? It was Bernie Sanders. So Donald Trump, you have no merits to criticize him, but there are certain certain places where you can criticize him.